What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning into Token Metrics TV and to my channel, The Quant Insights. This is Jad, the quantitative analyst at Token Metrics. So I hope everyone has a great year of 2022, a great year of health and family, and of course, some crypto gains. Now, talking about crypto gains, let's discuss the Token Metrics grade, the TM grade, and how it's been performing for a few coins and what is the current TM grade for a bunch of different coins. So I'm going to try to make it very quickly because I'm going to go through a lot of coins, Bitcoin and a lot of other altcoins to see how the TM grade is performing, to see if you should, how you should trade it or if you should just follow the indices. All right, so you've seen this chart many times. I've been speaking a lot about it, but today I'm going to go through a lot of different coins to see how the TM grade has been acting up recently, and what kind of buy and sell signals you would have gotten if you wanted to buy every time the TM grade crosses above 80 and sell or go out every time the TM grade crosses below 40. Now, I'm choosing 80-40 as good average thresholds, but doesn't mean that this is exactly the threshold that everyone has to follow. It's just a good average threshold across all different coins. All right, so here in front of us, this is Bitcoin. So again, in blue, the blue curve is the grade, where you can see it here on the right y-axis. And the red curve is the price, in this case of Bitcoin. And I'm running this analysis since January 2021. So I'm looking at it for a whole year. How did the TM grade act up for all of these coins? So let's start off with Bitcoin. So obviously, every time the grade is extremely high, like here above the 80s or above 75, it means that, okay, we're bullish on this coin. And every time the grade is pretty low, it will give us a bearish sentiment on this coin. So here you can see visually how the grade acts for Bitcoin. For example, here, most recently, it had a huge dump in the grade at above 60K, and now it's still pretty low graded all the way since past a month or two. Now, if we actually go ahead and build these signals that I discussed, by bullish went above 80, bearish but went below 40, these would be the signals for Bitcoin. And a few things to mention: no model will ever be perfect, so you will always have some false signals. You will always have a way to make a higher ROI, but when you're following strategies like this, you also want to manage risk very well. So you want to get out when things are dangerous. So here you can see, for example, when I say false signals is when you buy at a price and then you buy back at a bit of a higher price. So for example, here, where there was a huge dip, we sold somewhere here, and then the grade went below 40 somewhere here, but then crossed back up here. So you've sold at a lower price, bought back at a higher price, and then sold at an even lower price. So this is a bit of a false signal, but when you sold here and then you bought back somewhere here, the gain of this trade would offset, hopefully, the very small losses. So here's Bitcoin. Most recent signal has been bearish around 60K, and now it's trading around 47, 48K. And the most recent bullish signal was around 50, 51, 52K. So this would have been a very good trade for Bitcoin and a very good way to know when to get in and when to get out of Bitcoin. All right, now let's see Ethereum. I'm going to go a bit faster now because we have a lot of altcoins to discuss. All right, so Ethereum, similarly, grade in blue, price in red. So we can see visually that it performs pretty good. And recently, it had a bit of volatility in the grade, but now it's been trading pretty low for maybe about a month. So let's see how the signals would have performed. So first thing we can see here is that this bearish signal came very late. And as you can see here, the dip in the TM grade took some time. It started dipping here, and since we're using daily prices and close, we would have been able to get a bearish signal or reading pretty late. So that wasn't very good for Ethereum. But then other trades were not bad. Like here, we got a good bullish sign, although here you would have rather sold earlier. So Ethereum's grade right now is pretty low. So for me personally, I wouldn't want to increase my position in Ethereum or even open a new position in Ethereum now. I would wait, since I really like the coin, I would wait to see an increase in TM grade before I increase my position in Ethereum. All right. Now, Binance Coin. Binance Coin had an extremely good performance based on TM grade. As you can see here, the TM grade was extremely high since very low prices, around 30 bucks. all the way up to 600, and then had a very strong dip preceding the big crash. So let's see how the signals would have performed on Binance. So like I said, first bullish signal very, very early on, bearish signal around 570, so that was very good, and then you buy back at 320. So very, very good performance in terms of TM grade for Binance. And still now, the TM grade is still pretty low, so we're still in a bearish phase for Binance. So personally, I would wait to see an increase in TM grade before aping in BNB. All right, Solana, one of the very, very good TM grade picks as well. You would have bought in pretty early and then sold somewhere around 200. And now the grade is still pretty low, so similar story, I would still wait. Cardano, let's see Cardano. So TM grade was pretty high during the rally, but here we had a lot of volatility. And most recently, it's been pretty low across the board, maybe for about more than 100 days. So 3-4 months was pretty low grade. And this is shown in the signals where at 2.5 was the most recent bearish signal, and now it's trading below 1.5. All right. XRP visually, I don't like it very much because you can see how volatile the TM grade is with price. So let's see the signals. And as we can see visually, it's not that great. You get late bullish signals and you get pretty late bearish signals as well, and some false signals too. So for Ripple, wasn't that good, and the grade currently is below 40, so still no bullish sign for Ripple. All right, let's see Polkadot. Polkadot has pretty good, not bad accuracy, and especially early on where we caught it around $10. But recently it had a big drop, which was reflected by the TM grade. But now you can see TM grade has been increasing very, very fast. So although it's still a bearish signal because we still didn't cross above 80, keep an eye on Polkadot and start thinking and start keeping an eye on the TM grade. If it goes above 80, it might be a good time to buy Polkadot. All right, Terra Luna. So here's the TM grade, very, very good, especially here when there was a huge dip. I would have been able to have a bullish signal very early on here. And this is reflected in TM signals. We would have bought at around $5. And still recently, it's still bullish. The grade is still high, not very high, still in the high 70s. So keep an eye on a reduction in the grade or trying to get risk off the table for Luna right now. All right, Avalanche, this is the time series of the grade. The grade is currently around 75, so it's a bit similar than Luna. So also, most recent signal was bullish, although the price started dipping. So maybe you can think about de-risking a bit or reducing your position in Avalanche if the grade doesn't go up soon. All right, now Dogecoin, very, very risky crypto, huge jumps and huge dumps as well. So let's see how the TM grade would have acted. So we've gotten a pretty good bullish signal here, but since it was extremely volatile with jumps, we had a pretty late bearish signal here, but it would have still been a good decision to sell here and buy back somewhere here. And now it's still been bearish at above 0.2 cents, 0.25. But the TM grade is increasing slowly. So also maybe keep an eye on the TM grade for Dogecoin to get maybe a good entry point. All right, I'm going to try to go a bit faster for the rest of the coins. So here we have Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu, good signals, although the most recent one was bearish at 0.0004, I guess. But now the TM grade is still pretty low and it's been going down. So me personally, I wouldn't be looking for entry for Shiba. All right, Polygon. Polygon had pretty good performance based on TM grade. We've been able to participate in big rallies, although we sold a bit late. We've been able to buy at a better price down here. And the most recent signal is still bullish at around $2.1. But now the TM grade, you can see, is starting to decrease and it's in mid-70s. But it's still pretty high. So either start thinking about reducing your risk, or if the grade ends up going up a lot, maybe you can start thinking about adding in your position or going long Polygon. But for now, I wouldn't be very confident with adding or with going long on Polygon. All right, Chainlink. Okay, Chainlink recently had a huge increase in TM grade. You can see the increase started somewhere here where the coin was trading at $20 and had a big jump and then a big other jump. So let's see how the signals for Chainlink would have acted. So this bearish signal, not very good. You can see here, it was a bit late, like Ethereum a bit. But the signals, not so good, but now we had a bullish signal very recently on Chainlink. So keep an eye on Chainlink. All right, Cosmos, Atom. This is the TM grade. If you look at signals, a lot of volatility here. Late bearish signal, although the bullish signal here would have been perfect. Very good bearish signal here. And then we've been bullish on Atom at around $30. And the grade is still pretty high. So I'd be still confident, in my opinion, in Cosmos. Although if a dip happens soon, that might change. So keep an eye on that. All right, Algorand also very strong rally in the TM grade, and the signals has been pretty good on Algorand, especially here where you bought here, bearish signal here, there was a big dip, and then you bought back, and then the bullish signal came back. All right, so Near Protocol, this is how we've been. The grade has been high for a few weeks now, a bit more than 2 weeks, and these would have been the signals. So we got the most recent bullish signal at around $13. Yep, and now the grade is still pretty high. Uniswap. Uniswap had a huge increase in TM grade, so keep an eye on this coin for the short term at least. Yeah, now the grade is a bit below 90, so keep an eye on this one. We have the bullish signal here, and the signals usually on Uniswap are not too bad. Some false signals here and there, but the big trades were captured. All right, Phantom, also huge increase in TM grade recently, of course, because the price went up quite a bit, but it's still pretty high and would have been able to capture the most recent rally if you look at the signal here. And overall, the signals for Phantom has been pretty good. Like here, we got a bullish signal at 0.3, and obviously now it's trading at $3. All right, Axie Infinity, good initial signals, although here, not very good. We were a bit late to capture this recent rally, and now the TM grade has been pretty low, didn't really cross the 50s, and it's now around 30, so the most recent signal would still be bearish on Axie Infinity. All right, let's look at VeChain now. VeChain, the grade still pretty low, although it's an increasing. It has a slight increase recently, so keep an eye on VeChain. If you see the grade go up higher and higher, it might be a good time to accumulate or to open a position in VeChain. And if you look at the signals were very good for VeChain. Here we've sold good time, good bullish signal, and very good bearish signal, the most recent one. All right, Theta Network, the grade, although it went up a bit, now it's still in the neutral zone. So keep an eye on the grade. If you see it go up above 80, it might be a good time to start accumulating or to consider Theta as an investment or as a trade. And the most recent signal was still bearish. All right, Sandbox, the grade was very high recently, although it started dipping. So it might be a good time to start reducing risk in Sandbox and in Metaverse coins in general. Although the grade still didn't cross below 40, so that's why you still have a bullish signal. But I wouldn't be very, very confident in opening a trade on Sandbox right now. I think it's a bit neutral based on what I'm seeing. So I would still wait to see how the TM grade is going to change in the near future. All right, Elrond, let's look at signal. Most recent signal was bearish, and the TM grade is still very low. So I would still wait to see an increase in TM grade to consider Algorand. Helium Network has currently very high grade, around the 90s. And the signals on Helium were pretty good. Like you see here, TM grade was pretty high in the beginning. A lot, actually, of false signals during that big range. But overall, not extremely good signals. But now, recently, the TM grade has been high and the token is going up. So TM grade on Helium, not extremely well, but you can still use it to know when to enter and when to exit. Like the big bullish trades, like here, for example, was captured, although we sold a bit late and bought back at a bit of a higher price. All right, Decentraland, like Sandbox, Metaverse coin, still grade has been pretty low, so I would consider de-risking, and I would definitely wait to enter again. Good signals here. IOTA, currently the grade is a bit below 80, although it was pretty high the past couple of weeks, but now it's dipping. So I would also wait to see if I should trade it. I would wait to see the TM grade crosses back above 80, Or if it still goes down, I would consider de-risking on IOTA, although we still didn't see a bearish signal. So overall, you could still be bullish on IOTA based on the TM grade. And historically, TM grade has pretty good signals. All right, Gala, very low grade as of recently. So the TM grade is not very good for Gala. So I wouldn't consider entering right now in Gala. Engine Coin TM grade is in the neutral zone right now. So personally, I would still wait to see the grade go around 80 to start considering opening a trade in Engine Coin. And if you look historically, the signals have been pretty good, although this dip was so fast that the bearish signal came a bit late. All right, Olympus DAO, TM grade's been low for a few months now. So I wouldn't really consider a long position in Olympus. I would definitely wait to see the grade go way up around the 80s to initiate a long position. And the most recent signal has been bearish since around $900. Quant grade is still pretty low, although it's showing some signs of rising, but still bearish signal. So I would still wait to see a grade go to the 80s level to start considering, although the most recent trades has been pretty good. Curve DAO token grade is pretty high. It's above 80 right now. So I would consider looking into opening a trade on Curve, and most recent signal is still bullish. All right, Convex Finance grade has been pretty high for a month and a bit more. It's been ranging between the high 80s to 90s level, so that's why we have a recent bullish signal around $30. All right, Cadena had a very good signals based on TM grade. You had a very early bullish signal and a pretty good bearish signal, but now the grade is still low. It's below 40, so I would consider de-risking and wouldn't really consider going long until I see an increase of above 80. All right, SushiSwap, the grade has been pretty high. It's still high, it's in the 80s, so that's a good sign. We still have a bullish signal, although we had a small dip, so might be a good time to consider your position in SushiSwap. If you see the grade go back above 80, might be a good time to add, or if it goes below 80, it might be a good time to de-risk and think about other opportunities. Other opportunities, maybe synthetics. Maybe synthetics can make the big comeback. It's been pretty dead for a very long time. It was very hard coin to trade and to keep an eye on, but now the TM grade went from a 30 to a 75, so it's showing signs of life again. So if you see the grade still go up above 80, might be a very good time to buy this coin cheap. So keep an eye on synthetics and the TM grade. And yeah, most recent signal is still bearish though. All right, Yearn Finance had a good grade for a few weeks now, although it kind of followed the initial rally for Yearn Finance, but still the grade's pretty high and price is low compared to historically. So if the grade stays in this range, it might be a good idea to consider staying long this coin. Fractional shares, grade's been pretty high for a few weeks as well. And if we look at the trading signals, we would have had a bullish signal at $20. Now it's trading a bit below 40, but still TM grade is pretty high. So also keep an eye on fractional shares. GNO or Gnosis, the grade's been pretty high recently, although it had a lot of volatility. So you can expect false signals based on TM grade. Yeah, as we can see here. But still, so far, has been pretty bullish. Convex CRV, pretty high grade recently, although we don't have a lot of price data, so I'm not very sure. All right, Audius, grade is still pretty low. It's been low for quite some time. As you can see here, bearish signal is around 2.3, still bearish. So I wouldn't consider Audius until I see an increase of TM grade to be more confident in a change of trend. All right, now Rally still has a very low grade, and these would be the signals. So still pretty bearish. I personally would consider entering until I see an increase in TM grade. Syscoin has been showing up on our ratings page because it's been having very good grade recently, and it's been having a very strong rally. So let's see how the signals would have been very, very good, except this bearish signal here, where we had a very strange rally and dump. But recently, the TM grade captured the most recent trend, and it's still pretty high, although we had a huge increase. So even if the TM grade is extremely high, it might be a good idea to start reducing position because of this huge run-up. All right, perpetual protocol still in a low grade environment. So personally, I would still wait to see an increase in TM grade to enter. And yeah, bearish signal since around $16. REN, low grade, although it's been changing. We've had some increase in the grade, but still pretty low. And it's shown in the TM grade signal. It's been bearish since $1. Serum still has a pretty low grade, so I think it's still in a pretty bearish environment. So I wouldn't consider opening a long position until I see an increase, pretty significant increase in TM grade. Nano's TM grade is still pretty low recently, so also still wait. Aragon has had a very high grade for the past few weeks. It's been popping up in our indices, but now the TM grade has been dipping. So it might be a good time to start taking risk off the table for this coin, although we're still bullish on it. Alchemix had a huge run up in TM grade. So keep an eye on Alchemix, might be a good time to enter. And it had a strong rally recently, and the TM grade has been pretty high. And yeah, as you can see, we had bullish signal around 320. So keep an eye on Alchemix. TM grade is pretty high, so keep an eye on it. Phantasma also been showing up in our indices for quite some time. TM grade is still pretty high. We're still bullish on it. And it seems like it tested the prior all-time high and it's been going downwards. So maybe try to think of de-risking, but overall still a bullish sentiment on this coin. Alpha Finance had a very low grade for the past few months. Although we had a small increase, I would still wait to see a much bigger increase in TM grade before considering a long position in Alpha. Alchemy Pay, this might be extremely interesting. Alchemy Pay had a pretty strong increase in TM grade, and price is still pretty low compared to historically. We still didn't cross the 80 level, but keep an eye on it. Might be a good time to start accumulating some Alchemy Pay. All right, so here we went through a lot of coins, and we saw how the TM grade is for these coins most recently, and how it would have performed if you followed very simple strategy where you want to go long when the TM grade is above 80, and when you go when you want to sell when the TM grade crosses below the 40s level. So now just a quick other thing I want to show you guys is exactly similar, but instead of showing how the TM grade strategy would have performed, I'm going to show you how the indices took these TM grade and incorporated it into our token metrics indices. So here, same plot where I'm showing the price in red and grade in blue, but here the green lines are showing that at this date, when you see a green line, it means that at this date, this coin was in one of our portfolios, or one of our token metrics indices. So I'm going to go very quickly through them. So here you have Bitcoin. The nice thing is that this big rally was every day being in our index, so that was pretty good. Although here, not so good. And most recently, we had a good allocation, but now Bitcoin is not in our indices. Similarly for Ethereum, it's not in any of our indices as of now, although here, earlier on, we were able to capture a very strong trend in Ethereum. Binance Coin as well, low TM grade, not in our indices. And the indices didn't seem to capture Binance Coin very well, because the indices are taking not only the TM grade into account, but they're taking the diversification, risk, and a bunch of other things. So basically what I mean is, if an index has Ethereum in it, and Ethereum has a high grade, and Binance also has a high grade, it doesn't mean that Binance also should be included in the index, because these indices usually have 5 coins. So it's going to take Ethereum, and then it says, okay, since they're correlated, let me just stay with Ethereum. All right, so Solana, one of the best picks for our indices. You can see here when it really popped up, the first huge rally, it was in our indices every single day because the TM grade was pretty high. And now it hasn't been in our indices for quite some time. Cardano also hasn't been in our indices since September, so quite a long time we didn't see Cardano in our indices. XRP didn't show up in any of our indices at any time. Polkadot now is not in our indices, although I expected to, since the TM grade is starting to go up, you might keep an eye on Polkadot and try to see maybe it's going to start popping up in our indices again. Terra Luna, as of now, it has been sold off of our indices, although recently for the past month, it was every single day, so that's good. Avalanche not in our indices, although we were able to capture a big rally here. Dogecoin not in our indices as of now, although we were able to capture the big trade. Shiba Inu not in our indices as of now. It popped up a few times, especially here when it had a huge run-up. Polygon has been showing up almost every single day in our indices, except maybe today. Yeah, so we were able to capture a strong run-up in Polygon in terms of TM indices. Chainlink just started popping up in our indices, so keep an eye on Chainlink. Might be something happening around there. Cosmos has been every day for the past 2 weeks in our indices. Algorand still didn't show up, although TM Grid is now popping up, so it might start showing up, so keep an eye on Algorand. Near Protocol, also similar to Cosmos, has been showing up for at least 2 weeks in our indices. Uniswap just started showing up in our indices, so keep an eye on this one. Phantom, not so good in terms of indices, still didn't get picked, although the TM grade is pretty high, so it might be something about correlation. Axie Infinity is out of our indices for quite some time. VeChain didn't get picked in our indices recently. Theta Network as well, still recently not in our indices. Sandbox, we're able to capture the huge metaverse trade, although now it's not in our indices. Elrond as well, not in any of our indices. Helium has been popping up in our indices recently, and it's been there for a bit more than 1 week, so keep an eye on Helium. Decentraland recently, we got out, and it's not being in our indices. IOTA didn't really show up in our indices at any time recently. Gala as well recently has been out of our indices. Engine Coin, we had some good indices picks for Engine Coin, although recently it's out. Olympus DAO never got picked in our indices. Quant, we had some good run-ups that were captured by our indices, but recently nothing. Curve DAO, nothing much as well. Convex Finance showed up many times recently, although now it's not in our indices anymore, but the TM grade is still in the high range. Cadena didn't show up. SushiSwap has been getting picked recently, although now it's not. Synthetics still no, but the grade has been going up pretty strongly, so keep an eye on this one. Wi-Fi has been picked a few times recently. Fractional shares, not yet, but the TM grade has been pretty high, so you would have been able to trade it pretty well. GNO has been very good performance in terms of indices here, you can see. And now, as of today, it's still being picked. Convex CRV is still being picked today. Audius, not really, not in any of our indices. Rally is not in any of our indices. Syscoin popped up early on, although we would have wished to be able to capture this strong rally, but the TM grade stayed pretty high, so keep an eye on Syscoin. Perpetual Protocol, we were able to capture some strong uptrends, but most recently out of our indices. Ren as well, out of our indices. Serum hasn't been showing up. Nano also hasn't been showing up in our indices. Aragon had very good indices performance. We were able to capture this huge uptrend, although I think as of today, it stopped popping up in our indices. Alchemix didn't show up. Phantasma, still very high grade, showed up here and there in our indices, but not too much. Alpha Finance didn't really pop up in our indices, and Alchemy Pay did not. So I just wanted to show you guys the difference between following coin by coin, trading the TM grade, or just building the TM indices and seeing how the TM indices are picking coins that have a good TM grade and that are diversified. All right, so that was a pretty long altcoin analysis, if you'd like, based on TM grade. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope this gives you a better idea on how to use the TM grade and what kind of coins are starting to pop up, maybe like Alchemy Pay. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.